Welcome to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of The Real, taking time out of your day to come watch this episode. I really appreciate that. If you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe for me. I'd really appreciate that as well. That's the best way you can support this channel and help me grow my content and grow this channel to where I'd like it to be. Everybody hit the like button for me on the way in on this video today. That also helps promote this video more in the algorithms, helps grow this channel more as well. Please share this content. I would really appreciate that. My guests would as well. If you would please share this episode with someone you know that maybe is interested in the topic we're talking about today. Please leave a comment below as well. We'd love to hear your guys' feedback. You can interact with myself and the guest on the panel and the live chat as well. Whatever we're talking about, just leave a comment there in the live chat. Pop in and say hello. We'll put it on the screen for you. And yeah, without further ado, let's get to the show. Welcome back to The Real with Joseph Labman. I am Joseph Labman. You guys having a great Monday. Welcome into The Real. Happy President's Day. If you're new here, please like, subscribe, and share. I'd really appreciate that. And yeah, so let's get right to it. We got a lot of news to break down today. A lot of stuff going on in the sports world, especially with connected to the Cleveland sports. So may have a guest here shortly. I'm not sure. We'll see. But we'll get into some of these topics here. Welcome in Humble. He said the man. Welcome back, everyone. Good to see you, Humble. Love you, brother. Hope you're doing good. Happy President's Day, Joe. Happy President's Day, Humble. Parent Johnson now. I said, yo, what's up, Parent John? Good to see you. I hope you're doing good, my friend. Appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to tune in. But yeah, let's get right to it. So breaking news today out of Cleveland in terms of the Browns. The Browns finally have a defensive coordinator. The Browns are hiring Mike Rutenberg as their defensive coordinator. Sources tell the insiders, according to Tom Pelissero. He's a high-energy assistant. Rutenberg has trained under Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich, and most recently was the Falcons' defensive passing game coordinator. So Browns bring in Mike Rutenberg. Most notably, he came up under Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich. And so my initial reaction to this guy's name came out of the blue really like over the weekend. For the last few weeks, a lot of people felt like it was either going to be Jason Tarver, maybe the one guy, Bonda, I believe his name is, the DB coach who was here, or it would be the one gentleman from Houston whose mind just slipped. But what was his name? I can't remember. But you guys know what I'm talking about. He was a guy over in Houston. I think he was the passing coordinator over there, bringing him in. And so the Browns, though, decided to not go with any of them. They decided to bring in this guy last minute. His name kind of came out of the blue, and they go with Mike Rutenberg. And so Mike Rutenberg, I looked him up. He's an Ivy League guy, and went to Cornell. So he's an Ivy Leaguer, which obviously that kind of fits with what they've been looking for here in Cleveland. Now, my only pause with this hire is I hope Todd Monken was the one that really made this hire. I hope this hire wasn't kind of like made for him in a way, like, or has to be like abide by certain guidelines. Because if that's the case, I have some concerns there. But and the Ivy League part, and be honest, is the one that makes me think that. When I looked up his background and saw he's an Ivy Leaguer, may just be a coincidence. Maybe they just hired who they thought was the best guy. Maybe this is Monken's guy. But I thought I was, when I saw that, I'm like, I don't know. Hopefully this is not a forced hire or has to abide by certain guidelines. He needs to be an Ivy Leaguer. He has to, accept our advanced analytics and everything and blah, blah, blah. Hopefully that's not what's going on here. I don't think it is, but we'll find out and see. But it may not have been. I think maybe this is a collaborative hire and that they feel like it works for everybody. But also, in terms of the defensive side of things, he being under Robert Saleh and Jeff Ulbrich, I think he's going to keep kind of the same system we've had here. Both of those guys in their system, especially with Saleh, it's more of playing fast, which is something remember when Jim Schwartz was here. Jim Schwartz's whole mantra with that defense was playing fast, letting guys get out in space, right? Being physical, rushing the passer a lot, right? And I think what he can bring differently than Jim Schwartz had is just a different philosophical shifts in terms of the back end. I think sometimes when you watch the Browns on tape, I think a lot of times the defense was very good with the talent they had. They were dominant at times, but they were sometimes they were predictable. And I think the back end want to get beat because of that. And I think the back end sometimes they'd make adjustments they needed to make. You go back to that Houston Texans game where they literally just pulled out every play in the book and just it was explosive play after explosive play in that game. I think that you look at other games, the Chargers game in 24, just some other games this year even, where the back end at times still to me is the weakness of that team. Some good talent back there with Ward when healthy. I like Tyson Campbell. Grant Delpit's good, but Ronnie Hickman's okay. He's solid, but I think uh, there's still some philosophical things they could have better back there. I think some of it's talent as well. I think they got to get better talent back there. But Jeff Olberg did say though that uh, Mike Rutenberg has a quote PhD plus level teacher. He's a PhD plus level teacher, especially with the back end. And so I have a clip here of him with Mike Rutenberg. I get used to the name. So going off of what Jeff Olberg said about him in the past, about how he's a PhD level plus teacher, here's a clip here of Mr. Rutenberg, Coach Rutenberg now, here in Cleveland, about showing some of that teaching ability.
What's up? I'm Rudy, defensive pass game coordinator for the Atlanta Falcons, here to teach you a little bit about the nickel position, which is one of the most unique positions on the defense and also one of the most fun to play. So the nickel usually aligns to the passing strength. Well, when you align to the passing strength, you're typically covering one of their fastest and quickest receivers. So in coverage, the nickel can be in man coverage, where it has that person man-to-man. It can be in zone coverage as a curl flat defender. That's why the nickel needs corner skills and athletic ability, mainly short area quickness and burst. The other really cool part about the nickel is a lot of the times he's going to be in the run front. So he's got to have some linebacker mentality to him because we need him to be a primary fitter in the run game. The last thing a nickel could do is he could be a blitzer. So he needs a little defensive end swag because he's a blitzer. On top of all that, the nickel is the communicator out to everybody. High-level processor. Really cool position in the defense, really unique position. Baby backer, corner skills, DN blitzing. Thank you very much.
And so that's just kind of something I found real quick, kind of like seeing him show his coaching ability, seeing him break down things, analyze things. He breaks down the nickel there, and I thought how he emphasized the nickels, similar to what Schwartz would want to do with the nickels here. But I think it's a good hire in terms of philosophically. I think he's going to run kind of a similar scheme in a lot of ways, playing fast, coming again. You look at Saleh, you look at Olbrich, it's kind of similar to what Schwartz does, playing fast, getting guys out in space, attacking the ball downhill. I think he can bring a different element to that back end they haven't had in terms of that PhD plus level teacher that Jeff Olbrich says he is, especially with the back end. I think we need that. I think he can bring a different philosophical shift, like I said. And so we'll see what happens. Like my man Parenjohn said, I don't know, let's just wait and see. And I think this is what it's going to be. The other two guys who were candidates at least had, coordinating experience. So this guy doesn't have coordinating experience as a DC. So that's going to be something that I think it's going to be an adjustment to. I think you look at a guy like Todd Monken, if he's going to call plays and be a head coach, and it's his first time being a head coach in the NFL, I would ideally wanted somebody over there that has called defensive plays before, just to take a load off of him. But that's not going to be the case here. So, you got to, I guess, just trust and see what they believe here. My biggest thing is I hope Todd Monken is the one who actually made this hire. And I hope that, it wasn't something that was where he had to abide by certain, like he has to have certain qualifications, he has to be an Ivy Leaguer, has to do X, Y, and Z. That's one that I'm worried about. And, obviously he's got to go in there and get the respect of the room from day one. I mean, he's got to be able to go in there and get guys to buy in. A lot of these guys are pissed off. They're a former DC's not there. They made it clear publicly. So he's got to go in there from day one and get the respect and the trust of these guys and learn how to communicate with them. Because if he's not able to do that, he's not going to last long. And they're going to have to look for another DC ASAP if that doesn't work out. So let's give it a shot, though. Again, this is coach's team now, Todd Monken's team. This is his staff. So you got to just trust to see what happens here. I'm curious to see what happens with the rest of the defensive staff. Does Jason Tarver stick around because he was in the running to get the job and he didn't get it? So what does he feel now? Again, I've always said all along, what makes a great head coach, what makes a great unit coach like a DC is the staff he surrounds himself with. And so, if that defensive staff needs to be kind of rebuilt too, this is a guy now who's been around the league, but he's got to be able to pull people in here and make those connections and get people in here to build out a proper staff, because that's going to be key for them. So I don't know. This is all fresh. Again, his name came out of the woodwork in really the middle of the weekend. So I got to learn more about Mike Rutenberg. I never heard of him until this week, so uh, we'll do more on this. But that's my initial reaction to the hire, and so we'll see. Just like my man Paragon says, Paragon says I'm worried Miles will not listen to this guy. Yeah, Paragon, I think that's definitely something you'd have to keep an eye on because again, like I said, the respect and just the um, communication, getting buy-in from the guys. That's going to be something I'm going to be looking forward to and watching, analyzing because it's got to start now. Whenever they come back to the facility, I think next month in March, he's got to come from day one. Really, he's got to get on the phone right now and call Miles today, call Denzel, call Carson, call these guys, and start to form a communication now. But also when he gets in front of these guys, he's gonna have to earn their trust because they're coming off of somebody they loved, right? And Jim Schwartz now they got somebody new in there, and they had a dominant defense. And you look at Myles Garrett, he's probably the man I just broke the single season sack record under my last defensive coordinator. So he's definitely got to come in there from day one and really, that's gonna be the key with him. Can he get buy-in? And is he going to be able to take a load off of Todd Monken as a head coach and play caller? B, right? That's the biggest thing I'm going to be looking for. And also C, can he implement a similar system and bring new philosophical, shifts to the back end possibly, and even to the defense were not as predictable as they were at certain times. I think those are the three things I think I'm going to be looking for. If he can do all three of those, it's a great hire. So, um, yeah, we'll be watching that. I'll do more research on him, and I know he's a high energy guy. I've read about that as well. You could just tell by the way he talks. He's a high energy guy, younger guy, so maybe he can relate to them a little differently. So we'll see. Yes, be fully transparent with the players we have. Absolutely, and that's what they want. Especially in this situation with the Browns, with the organization's been in recent years. These coaches are looking for that transparency. They're not looking to mess around anymore. They're tired of the change. They're tired of the turnover. They just want real stability that's permanent and, be able to continue on their success on that side of the ball and get that offense up to par where they can finally play complementary football. Then you might have something brewing here in Cleveland. So we'll see. But that's all I got for you on the Browns and the hire with Jeff Ulbrich. To the main topic of the show, I guess I'll go there first since my guest is waiting. Over the weekend, you had the NBA All-Star game, right? And I'm gonna break down my thoughts on the All-Star game and have something I'm gonna go into deeper in the show a little bit about that. But during the All-Star game, the Cavs put out, I thought, an interesting post. And you can see it says right here, obviously the NBA All-Star game, they had this format where it was Team USA, it was Team Stripes, Team Stars, and then you had Team World. It was 3 teams, and it was broken down like a tournament style or like however you want to break it down. And Team Stars, I believe, or Stripes, I believe, ended up winning the tournament. I think it was Stars was Anthony Edwards' team, the red team. So you can see there was blue, there was red, and the world team was white jerseys. And so during the game, though, when Game 3 started, LeBron and Donovan Mitchell were on the same team, right? And so this post was put out by the Cavs. And right here, you can see it says it's LeBron and Donovan Mitchell right next to each other, and it says Game 3 starts now. But it's the Cavs that put this out. And I thought this was symbolic because if you look at all the speculation and rumors recently, I've been saying on the show for 2-3 years now since I've been doing this. I said he's not going to finish his career in LA. LeBron will be back in Cleveland one day, right? I'm saying it's a done deal. And I feel like the Cavs last night kind of hinted to what's to come. And I feel like other people have been hinting to what's to come. And I thought I had another slide here, but there was a report put out over the weekend on ESPN by Tim McManaman, I think his name was, or Mackaman, or whatever his name is. I'll get the report up here. He's on the podcast of Windhorse. My guest probably knows his name pretty well, better than I do. But he said, quote, and I got it right here. I'll read it to you. That his quote here. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up here on the screen. But basically, he said the speculation around the league right now, it's rampant that LeBron James will not only return to Cleveland next year, but it'll be for a retirement toward the ages, right? And the Browns, the Cavs obviously just brought in James Harden. They're 3-0 with James Harden. They look like a much better team, which I thought they would be. I broke down the film on that last week. Why I thought it was a phenomenal addition, bringing in James Harden, right? And I think you saw, or not, you saw some of the reports last week. I think that move was not only just for now, but for the future as well. You saw reports last week. James Harden and Donovan Mitchell will be recruiting LeBron back to Cleveland. Tim McMahon, I believe is his name. I'm gonna put this on the screen for you guys. The report that he said last week on ESPN. I think it was Friday. He said this. Um, but again, I think you heard Donovan talking about. He was asked about it this weekend about LeBron coming back to Cleveland, and he was kind of vague about it. Obviously, can't say a whole lot. He's focused on right now in this season, but just kind of was like, yeah, I mean, it'd be great if he came back. I think LeBron and James Harden have always had an admiration for each other. They'd like to play with each other one day, possibly, if it worked. I think LeBron, Harden, and Mitchell, I think all complement each other pretty well because James Harden has really adjusted his game throughout his career to now where he can play beside a star like Donovan Mitchell. He did it with Kawhi. He's done it with other been on. He's a great playmaker too. James is the kind of guy, if he needs to go out and score 30, 40 points a night, he can do that easily. If you need him just to go out there and score 20 or 15 even and get, 10, 11 assists, he can do that. He's that skilled of a player and he's that great of a player. And so I think it works. And I think LeBron at this stage in his career, he needs more youth around him. He needs more guys that are I think it's a good fit. I think he needs guys like Evan Mobley on the front line to help him defensively and Jared Allen. And I think he needs guys like Mitchell and Harden, where LeBron's always thrived more with guys who were, I don't want to say not as ball dominant as Luka, but guys like Kyrie and D Wade who can go out and score. They're scorers, right? They can go out and they can score at will. And I think he's always thrived under that, where LeBron can get the ball in his hands more and he can be more of a playmaker and get guys involved to control the pace of the game and really be a control freak out there. I think one of the reasons why this year it's just not working in LA, and they're not a bad team, but it's not a coincidence he's up there saying he doesn't believe they're a contender. Like when they played the Thunder, he goes, well, they're a contender, we're not, right? And I think that, to me, LeBron, he's been bitching a little bit this year about not having the ball more in his hand. He's had to adjust playing besides Luka because he knows it's Luka's team now. It's Luka's franchise. And he's shown the ability to still play out the ball, still average 22 points. But I think LeBron, for his last season in the league and his last go out, I think, A, he wants to compete for a championship. And I think, B, he wants it to go where he's at his best form. I think the LeBron we're seeing this year, if you watch LeBron the last few games of the Lakers with Luka out, he looks like the kind of LeBron we've always known. Triple-double, taking it coast to coast. Looks very good for 41. I mean, that last game they just won before the break. He had a couple plays in that game where Jersey and I were watching it. Jersey was even like, geez, he's at 41 years old. He's moved up down the court like that. Had a triple-double, against the last team they played against. I think it was the Dallas Mavericks, right? And so LeBron can go out and play at a high level. I think he picks his spots. I think he knows what he can and can't do anymore. But he's still a high-level player, still one of an all-time great player. I think he's just, and I said this for the season, when all the rampant speculation was going on about him coming back last summer, and he was sitting there doing all the little cryptic stuff. I said back then there was a chance maybe it could have happened, but I said he was going to opt in that $53 million. He had 1 year left on his deal, which is what he did. He's collected that money. And I think this year for LeBron is more just getting the check, getting through it healthy, and finishing out his contract, his obligation to the Lakers. And I think he'll leave. And he's not only is he going to leave, I think he's coming right back here. And I think it's setting all up for that. You saw the reports from the Cavs a month ago when he came back here. They would gladly welcome him back. Anytime LeBron's made a move, they've always made hints to the public, right? And they would basically show you ahead of time what's going to happen. When he left for Miami, people a year or two in advance knew he was going to Miami. They knew he was leaving. And there was hints that he was going to leave, right? And he did the whole decision thing. When he left Miami, came back to Cleveland, 2 years in advance. You kind of had an idea. Well, I remember Brian Windhorst said in 2012 the door was never really closed to him coming, wasn't closed for him to come back in 14. And then as the time went on, more cookie crumbs started to come out, right? You just started to piece it all together, and voila, he came back. When he left for LA, you do kind of a year or two in advance. I remember Peter Vesey was on Colin Cowherd's show a year in advance in the summer of 2017 saying it was a done deal. He's going to LA. Everybody knew he was going to LA. It wasn't some secret, right? I think the same thing's been happening now within the last year or two. Ever since he came back to the All-Star game in 2022 in Cleveland, that to me is when the door really opened, and he started to slowly put it out there over time. And that, hey, down the road, I could consider coming back. I even showed on my show that, back when he left in 2018 to LA, the month after he was on an interview with the local Channel 3 News and left the door open then, right? You saw Maverick Carter when he came back to Cleveland for his first game in Cleveland as a Laker. Maverick Carter said, "Yeah, LeBron would be interested in buying a team one day or having an ownership stake in the Cavs if they came for sale." And kind of funny. Last summer, the Cavs had Dan Gilbert put a 15% of ownership stake up for sale, and that still hasn't been bought yet either. It's just been sitting there. So, I wonder what that's going to be. So, I think there's a lot of things that are pointing towards it's a done deal. He's coming back. And here's a report on ESPN from the gentleman, Tim, and what he's hearing around the league and what the rumors are.
I know what the rampant speculation is around the league, and that is this summer there's going to be a reunion and potentially a retirement tour for the ages back home again with the Cleveland Cavaliers next year.
And so there you go. And again, I told you guys last summer, I said he's going to opt into that contract and he's going to play out the year. He's going to get that money and he's going to leave. He's going to come back here this summer. And this upcoming season or next year will be his last season in the NBA. And so I think that's what it's going to be. And I think he has a great chance to compete for a championship, go out the way he wants to go, at his style, his play style. It's a better fit of a team, I think, for him. And it's an easier conference for him to come out of, get to the finals, right? And I think it makes sense. It's the best uh, end of career story for him, right? It's like a movie. He ends it right here where it's all started. And I think the city, I mean, I've already heard people sitting there looking to get tickets for next season and everything. So, he doesn't have that kind of buzz in LA, right? LeBron will go down as a Hall of Famer with the Lakers. He'll probably get inducted in their Hall of Fame one day, but he's not an all-time great Laker. He's not like a top 5 guy. He's not a Magic. He's not a Kareem. He's not a Kobe. He's not. I don't know if he's even a Shaq. He just never had that lure out there. He never really, in my opinion, truly fit uh, for the Lakers. I think I never was like a real fit. I think it was something that was just it made sense for them at the time, made sense for him on and off the court, and they got a championship out of it. And he got the pass Kareem as a Laker uniform and all-time scoring record. And Kareem got the hand on the ball, the whole thing. Once that ceremony was over with, they were done with him, and he was done with them. And that's why they went out and got Luka the next season. And so I think, like I said, I think, or shortly after, I think it was a year or two after that. But again, I don't think LeBron's ever really been like all in on the Lakers in terms of like, what I mean by that is I don't think it's not he's a Cav first. That's what it means. I mean, what franchise means the most to him, it's Cleveland, not LA, not Miami. And the people out there that never really fully embraced LeBron like that because he's just not, they don't view him as one of theirs. He didn't get drafted there. You know what I mean? He didn't get traded there. It was more just, it made sense at the time for both sides and they got what they got out of it. Now it's time to move on. And I think it's probably been long overdue personally. I think it's been well overdue. I think this should have broke up probably 3 years ago, but it is what it is. But joining me now, though, the man himself over on TuneNSports and Cavaliers Talk. My man is in the house to give his thoughts on this, all things Cavs. Anytime I got to talk about the Cavs, I got to bring this guy up here because he's the man. TuneNSports is joining the show. Tune, what's up, brother?
What's going on, Joe, man? Appreciate you for having me on, man. Great content, man. And shout out to them Cavs.
Shout out to the Cavs. Well, Tune, I appreciate you waiting patiently, brother. I was trying to get up here as soon as I could. Break down all the context first. But what's your thoughts on this thing right here with LeBron? Obviously, the Cavs put out this post yesterday I thought was, in my opinion, very calculated too with him and LeBron. And I know the Cavs could say, well, LeBron's, he's a Cavalier and he's an all-time great here. But I think, too, and this was calculated, especially with all the reports going up. You heard the gentleman on ESPN, all the stuff a month ago when LeBron came back. We talked about it on your show. Like, I think everything's pointing towards it's a done deal. He'll be back this summer. What's your thoughts?
I mean, man, we've been talking about this basically all year, all summer going into the season. You've been covering it. I've been talking about it. You've been talking about it mostly. We already know what time it is, man. He's coming home, man. We've been talking about, it's all about, when, we know he's coming, but when is he coming? And it looked like, all roads are leading to next off season. And the Cavs, admin putting this out, posting LeBron. I mean, what a coincidence, right? I guess, they posting this. We know, man. We know that LeBron has been linked to coming back. And yeah, like I felt like LeBron could have been left. I think his stay in LA is long overdue. He could have been left LA, man. But yeah, I look, I welcome him back, man. I have no problem with him coming back, man. With this team we got, I think it makes sense for LeBron, to get that farewell tour he's looking for, man. And why not leave out on top, man? Because the Cavs have a good roster over here. They have young stars over here, so why not leave out on top, man? Or leave on a good note. You know what I'm saying? Not a
Mhm.
losing note. Come back home, possibly win another championship, have your farewell tour, just leave on top. That's how I see it.
I feel like this too, Tune. I mean, I think when James Harden came over here, he kind of had an idea of what's coming. Like I don't think it was just this year only. Obviously he's coming over here. They brought him over here. He's going to get the extension, if I'm not mistaken, right? I think they said like a 2-3 year extension.
Yeah, whatever promise was made.
Yeah, they made him a promise about an extension this summer, but I think there's more of it too. We saw the reports last week. That him and Donovan are going to start recruiting LeBron, or already have started recruiting him. Like he just got here. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I think this is something they've all known is coming. I think that's why they went out and got James Harden, because James is he's a better player than Darius, but he's also a more win now guy, and I think he fits what they would need.
More
It's
season.
Yeah, more season. He's like, this is it for James too, these next couple years. So, I think they definitely known this is coming. Do you agree with that? I think when James came over here, I think it was kind of like, yeah, not only can we compete this year, but also we know what's coming this summer.
It's possible. I mean, I'm sure James Harden, was looking at all this also. He been paying attention to the Cavs. He was even talking about how he was already like had his mind made up on come to the Cavs before the trade. He was like looking at the Cavs roster and watching games, just studying us. So I'm pretty sure he see the LeBron stuff, or there's some talks going on behind the scenes, possibly. Yeah.
How do you think? Because obviously everybody sees this, and we see it. The players obviously know what's going on. They probably hear more rumors behind the scenes than we do. How do you think this implements or can impact the Cavs season at all, if any, the rest of this year? Because obviously they're in a good position right now. They're red hot going to the All Star break. They look a lot better with James Harden. I think they're going to be the favorites to win the East by the end of the season, unless Tatum comes back to the Celtics, which we don't know. We'll see. But I mean, how does having that in the back of your mind as a team, I think could be somewhat of a distraction for certain guys that know they may be getting replaced, but
Oh man.
at the three. But I'm just curious your thoughts on that.
I mean, I will hope, man, stay tunnel vision, man. We locked in right now. I will hope not. I hope everybody stay in tunnel vision. I mean, you getting a legend to come back. I just hope everybody, stay locked in. Focus on basketball. Shouldn't let that impact anything. Yeah, just stay tunnel vision. I don't know who's gonna get replaced, man. Well,
Yeah, because
obviously
you look at
LeBron
Jalen
played.
Tyson, I think he
Yeah,
slides right into his spot.
they're the guy that says it's Donovan City now.
Yeah, he gets replaced immediately. As soon as LeBron saw that night, he goes, "Yep, get him on the block."
Nah, we love Tyson, man. I hope not, man.
Tyson.
But nah, I just say stay tunnel vision, man. These are professionals. I know some of the guys are young. Um, and some of the
Let me
guys are
ask, do
mature.
you think the roster right now with Mobley, Allen, right? Obviously, Mitchell, Harden aren't going anywhere. Do you think the Cavs will try to move any of these other guys to make I don't think Mobley's going anywhere either,
Yeah, I think he's
unless it's.
staying.
I think he stays, but like an Allen, right, a Jalen Tyson, even as much well as he's playing this year, it sounds crazy. But do you think there's an additional move? Because when you get LeBron, you got to go all in, especially if it's 1 year. And you brought in James Harden, right? Who took some. Yeah, he's a better player than Darius Garland, but it's still, he's what 12 years older in the league. So you did shorten your timeline a little bit, not a lot, but I mean, what's your thoughts there? Do you think there's some additional moves they could make? Do you think this will be the actual roster and they just plug in LeBron going into the next season?
They have a lot of good pieces on his team. A lot of young depth pieces. I mean, if it's me, man, I like to keep everybody, man. Like I'm like on the game. I try to like build the best roster possible,
Hmm.
But I know, we heard some guys like Max Struz being in the trade room. It's the emergence of Sam Merrill. He's been playing some pretty good basketball. We could see Max Strus possibly on the move, maybe, but I don't know who, if we looking to add any more pieces. We have a lot of young players off the bench, but I'm pretty sure like we could look to add. I mean, you plug in LeBron. LeBron got it. LeBron is another 20 point. We're not even asking LeBron to be the guy. LeBron don't even have to be the guy coming here. We have
Hmm.
the scores for him. I mean, LeBron is a 20 points per game scorer. You have Harden, you have Donovan, two guys to give you 20 plus, and Tyson. He's a pretty good scorer. So I don't know. I mean, it's always good to add if you can, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing they have with what where they are now is they have versatility and defense on their front line that I think you got to have with LeBron because LeBron, as good as he still is at his age, he's not a great defender anymore.
Yeah, he would need some
Last
help.
night he was
Yeah,
getting blown by a few times by guys, and I think
I
some of
mean
it was just
he's
taken
he's
care of. But
41, man. He's 40.
yeah, I mean, and you could say it's
41.
the All Star game, but I also saw it
Yeah,
during regular games this year already too, where it's just getting like guys blow by him. And I think some of that too is I don't think LeBron is fully engaged in this season. I think he's just kind of checked out of LA. I think he's just kind of doing his business, doing his obligation to the franchise and his contract, and he's going to respect it. And I think he's just trying to get out of there healthy, honestly. But I mean, the fact that he's going up there and saying we're not a title contender, I just
yeah, I seen that.
I'm surprised too, and they're even keeping him around the rest of the season because if I'm LA, after what he said against that after that Thunder game where he said that, I would try to get him out of the building. I don't see how there's got to be some friction in that building right now because there's just no way a guy of that magnitude can come up there and say we're not a title contender multiple times, and his agent said it too. You remember his agent said it, and then LeBron had to backtrack, try to salvage stuff with Austin Reeves to say, "Well, I don't. Rich don't speak for me. Rich is own man." Then he comes out and he reiterates what Rich just said, basically. So it's like, which I said, whatever Rich Paul said, that's what LeBron probably thinks too. So
Yeah, he's just not, yeah, publicly.
yeah, so it's like I don't see how the Lakers even try to ride this out the rest of the year. You would look at a situation where they could buy him out just to get him out of the building, maybe come back now, but which
I
I don't
don't
think is
see it,
likely.
man.
But
I
I
don't
don't
see
see
it.
that either. But I just can't believe he said that the way he said it. But I think it just tells you it's another sign that he just checked out. Like if LeBron was long term in LA coming back next year, he wouldn't be saying those things. Because it's just not good for the team. It's not good for the chemistry. And I think some of those guys in that locker were probably just taking down they're probably just like, man, we have a couple more months to get this guy up out of here. So, I think that's kind of what's heading towards. You could just see it, written all over. But you got any thoughts on that with the Lakers side of it?
Yeah, I mean, he's on his way out, man. I mean, you just, at both sides understand the situation. He just finishing out his contract like LeBron always do, man. And the Lakers, they just gonna honor his contract. They just,
The writing's on the
when it's
wall,
up,
though. They
it's
know
up.
it. Yeah.
When it's up, it's up, man. They can
Yeah.
move on from
They know the
after the
writing's
season.
on the wall.
Yeah,
But
they can move on and continue on with their future with Luca and whatever guys they plan on building around Luca, and get off LeBron contract, get off them other guys contract possibly. Who knows?
I'm going to ask you some question about the team related to this in some ways. Obviously, they're red hot right now, right? Going in the All Star break. I guess let's start there. What's been your initial reaction to James Harden and the fit with the Cavs?
Um, he's everything that I thought he could be, man. He's definitely an upgrade from Darius Garland. I already knew what we was gonna get with James. I just was like, it's just the other stuff, right? But
Hmm.
as far as basketball, James Harden is clearly a hooper, man. He can play. Nobody say he can't play. It's just the other stuff, the negatives, off the basketball court, and playoff stuff. But regular season, Harden gonna bring it, man. And uh, he's been playing good ball. Not having no practice, and when you get this far in the season, I don't think you practice as much anyway. But not having no practice, doing some of the stuff on the fly, and like they've been saying, just playing off vibes and just you have two guys, two elite players just figuring it out. I don't know. I've been impressed with him, and not just him, but the other guys, the role players, and Dennis Schroeder and Keon Ellis. Can't forget about those guys. But James Harden
Hmm.
just elevating Jarrett Allen. Like, it's still early, but you already see like the impact he's having. Allen is is he's getting double doubles every game, man. He looking like a whole different player right now, man. This with no Evan Mobley, of course, on the floor, so we still got to see how that look. And then just seeing Sam Merrill get them getting Sam Merrill involved, running some sets, get Sam Merrill the ball, and seeing Sam Merrill just, I know James Harden right now is like he's loving Sam Merrill right now because Sam Merrill can't miss. That guy can't miss.
He was on fire the
He's
other
good.
night.
Yeah, he's on fire.
Man, he was on fire.
That last game was crazy.
I think, I mean, the most improved players in the league this year, you look at them, is Jalen Tyson and Sam Merrill. I mean,
man. The all shout out to Ahmed. He called it. He said,
he's still. I
Sam
don't.
Merrill.
He was not present at that All-Star game. I don't think he flew out. But
Nah.
like I predicted, he was not flying out. Our buddy
They're
Wally's in the
lost.
chat. Yeah, Wally said, "Yo, what's up?" He said, "We
What's good, Wally?
need more building for the next 7 or 8 years."
Man, we about to win, man.
He said, "JA is still ass."
I know.
Wally is not a fan of Jared Allen, but no, I agree with you. I mean, I think. Do you think they're the favorites right now in the East?
I changed my opinion. I saw your video. Yeah, I think they should be the favorites. I know, how the media is like they typical media. Detroit Pistons, they number one, so they think Detroit is the baddest team in the East. And I understand, but regular season is always going to be regular season. Even the Cavs, had that top spot, and you saw what happened to the Cavs. They was a regular season team. The playoffs is a whole different story. So, I think if it's not the, if it's not the Knicks or anybody else, I think the Cavs should be the favorites in the East. I respect Detroit though and what they're doing though. They are a good basketball club, but I just think the James Harden trade and the other guys, it definitely gave us a boost and something that was needed. And I think we should be favorites to come out the East because we was already contenders before the season. Just had up and downs and injuries and stuff. But I think the Cavs, I think James Harden and the role players should make us favorites in the East. I think I agree with you. Now I do. Before I was like, I don't know, but now I'm starting to see like, I can see it.
Well, and like for me, my whole thing was this. Like, I had some people comment on the video. They're like, "Well, Harden's not proven in the playoffs. The Cavs are going to flop. Like they're not coming out of the East." Which, yes, Harden's track record is not the greatest in the postseason. The Cavs' track record since LeBron left at 18 in the postseason hasn't been the greatest. They've fallen short, either due to injury, like in 2 years ago, or just absolutely just fell short like last year. But I look at it like this too, and like I look at the Pistons. Great season, great team, really well constructed. JB's done a hell of a job. Not surprised. I like JB. But JB's track record in the postseason is not great. And who's their other scorer besides Cade Cunningham? Who's the other guy who can go get a bucket?
One-on-one buckets,
They don't have it. And I just don't. And do you really trust that team as young as they are with JB to get it done in the postseason? I think they'll be a tough out because how physical they play. But I think when it comes down to half court, when postseason the game slows down, you got to be more half court. You have to execute. I just think if teams take away, start blitzing Cade more and pick and rolls and just start to, trap him more and get the ball out of his hands, put pressure on him, you're going to force other guys to have to step up. And I just don't know if they'll be able to deliver. Will JB make the adjustments? Because we know how JB is. Love him, but
we know
he's hard-headed. So, he's going to stick to his guns. Yeah, and you got to respect it. He's going to stick with his guys and ride it out. But in the postseason, the record has been great. And then the Knicks, I think adding James Harden negates what the Knicks were able to do this in the past. In the past, they would just pick on Darius Garland. They would pick on other guys like Cedi Osman, or who we had him, or, all these other guys who weren't great perimeter defenders. Well, the Cavs not only brought in a bigger guard than James Harden who could put pressure on Jalen Brunson. He's 6'5", but also, and he's an all-time one of the best scorers, one of the all-time great scorers in the last 20 years. But also they brought in Keon Ellis, who is a dog defensively, and they also brought in Dennis Schroeder, who's a great defensive point guard. And guys who are just they're just game wreckers out there. They're animals. They pressure the ball. They cause chaos. They're physical. They're chippy. Like the Cats have a different edge and toughness and depth now. I don't think they had to. And the emergence of Sam Merrill, I just think they would be. I think they would. I think they would mop the Knicks right now. Like I just
Yeah,
think it's a matchup nightmare for New York. Because I think the Cavs now negate what they did to us, in the past, where they were a better team than us. But I think I look at them. I'm not worried about them. And I can't think of any other team. I mean, even I said Orlando a month ago, but that was before James Harden. I think now with James Harden, we beat Orlando. So I mean, it'd be. I think Ben Carroll will give us some fits, but you got Jalen Tyson now has improved as well. I keep forgetting about him, but unless Jason Tatum goes back to the Celtics team because they're proven obviously and they're champions and they're one of the best duos in the league, if not the best in some people's eyes. I, I don't see another team that's as good as this Cavs team, depth wise and just the way they're constructed now.
yeah. I mean, the Cavs, they're not gonna be no easy out. I say that they won't be an easy out. Um, like I said, the teams that I thought, in the playoffs, I know the Knicks is, a little shaky, but I feel like the Knicks and the Celtics. I'm not really worried about the Celtics. I like the move they made getting the big out of Chicago. But Tatum, I don't think Tatum should come back. So with no Tatum, I'm not really worried about Boston. I think Tatum should just stay out and keep recovering. Orlando, not worried about them. And the Pistons, yeah, like we already talked about the Pistons. So it's really not too many teams. That's why people say the East is open. So like we should we the most we should definitely get to the conference finals.
I agree, and that's actually going to lead to my next question I had for you. Kind of going with LeBron and all this too. Going back to that, how far do the Cavs have to go for Katie Atkinson to keep his job?
How far do they have to go this year?
Yeah, because I feel like if they get to the second round and lose with the moves they've made and what they know it's coming this summer, I think Kenny's job could be in jeopardy.
Damn, man, again, man, he just got here. He just got here, man. I don't know, man. His job
I think
security.
they got to make conference finals.
Yeah, they gotta make. Yeah, they gotta make conference finals. They can't get bounced out the second round. Obviously, not out the first round. Especially not just for Kenny. If you want to go there, just say Kenny's job security. Salute B Skrills. You
Salute B
definitely
Screws.
gotta make it so you can keep this team together. I mean, it's a short window anyway with Don and James. We know Don is gonna be due for extension. He might not choose to sign another. Who knows? So yeah, the
Right.
Cats gotta win, obviously.
Yeah,
But it's a
I
short
just feel
window.
like, yeah, I just think it's a shorter window now. But you're also when you bring LeBron in, you got a real short window. You got a
Oh
year,
yeah.
and and that's we all agree that's a done deal. It's probably it's going to happen this summer, right? But I just think you also got to you're trying to win this season, but you're also trying to set yourself up for next season as well. We really have to go all in, and I think if you have a coach that's underperforming still in the postseason, if they don't get past the second round, I would even say I'll go as far as say if they don't compete in the conference finals, like if they got the conference finals and lost them five, I think it's a failure still. I think he's got to get them to where they're on the doorstep of the NBA Finals. Either A, they make an appearance, or they lost in 6 or 7 games in a hard fought series in the conference finals. So I think that's what it has to be. Because if you don't, LeBron is with coaches in his career. There's gonna be some pressure there. Like we got to get somebody in there that can get it done and help us, get the team where it needs to get to because we got to try to win a championship. And so I think Kenny, he's got to get this. There's more pressure on him, I think, than anybody right now. He's got to get this team to a competitive conference finals appearance at least.
Yeah, conference finals is a must. Nothing shorter than that. A competitive conference finals. Finals, obviously the max, but definitely
Yeah.
conference finals. Competitive conference finals.
Well, Tuna, I'll ask you real quick your predictions for the rest of the season. How far do you think the Cavs will go?
And I think just looking at what we've seen in this little sample size, they are on like a 5-game winning streak. I think. I think the Cavs could realistically finish top three, possibly grab that second seed. Possibly grab that second seed. Yeah, they could get that. They fourth right now, and I think the higher the seed, the better. I mean, you want that home court, obviously. Not worried about who we'll play in the second round. It is what it is. But yeah, I think they can finish top three. Second seed. I don't know. Detroit probably stay number one, maybe. JB, he's always been good, in the regular season. So yeah, they probably keep that first seed. I know there was a lot of suspensions. I was looking at that with the Hornets and Detroit and some other stuff. So I was looking at the Cavs, looking at the schedule. I was like, oh yeah, the Cavs could easily grab the next big wins against the beating up on the Wizards, beating the Nets. We play the Nets next, I think, so we easily get that win. So they could climb up on some wins, but I think top 3.
Do you think they make the conference finals then, or make it to the finals?
Oh yeah, man. I absolutely. Cavs
So
are
you got to
5.
make it in the finals.
Cavs are 5.
Oh, Cavs at 5. Book it, he said.
Be the
Tune, I
big.
appreciate. Yeah. I'll have to write that down. Cavs at 5. Tune says conference finals. So we're playing the Thunder in the finals.
Oh, the Thunder. Oh yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question.
Are we gonna play the Thunder?
That's a
do
good
you think
question.
this team can beat the Thunder?
Man, that's a good question.
Too early to tell. Maybe
I'll
ask you this question. I'll ask you this question March 1st. How about that?
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
I'll ask you. I think
I'm gonna
that's
have to
fair
think
enough.
about that.
We play the Thunder, I think, too, coming up. So March 1st, I'll ask you that.
We
But
play the Thunder and we play Detroit.
yeah. But Tune, I appreciate your time, brother. Obviously, if you want to, real quick, I want to ask you. Obviously, the NBA All-Star game last night. I know you didn't watch like me, but
Yeah.
did you go back and watch some of the highlights?
I seen some of it, man. Like I said, I tuned in here and there, so I can't really get my full, analysis on it. But I did see some of it, and I did look at the highlights of some of the game. But I guess I'll say, the Celebrity All-Star game, I might be getting old, but I couldn't name half the people that was playing the celebrity game. I knew some of them though. Some of them I didn't know.
I totally forgot about it.
But yeah, the celebrity game, it's whatever.
What else was on Friday night? Was that it?
It was that.
Because they used to do the. Remember, they used to have the Rising Stars game growing up, and
yeah,
I used to watch all this stuff all weekend.
Yeah, I think they took out the. I don't know. Did they do any challenges? I think they took out the skill challenges and all that stuff. I think they took it out.
The 3-point contest still has the same.
Oh yeah, Dame one, right?
Competitive, yeah. The 3-point contest is. I don't think that'll ever change because it's like
a 3-point.
It's a 3-point contest. It's competitive, and it's guys shooting. Just shooting the ball. So I think that still has its lure. It still has the attraction to it. The slam dunk contest.
It's not going to be. It's only so many dunks you can do. Look, it's hard.
Tune, Jersey and I turned it on for just to see what it looked like.
It was not good.
It's the worst slam dunks. I didn't even finish watching it. It was the worst slam dunk contest I ever saw in my life. And I've seen some bad ones in the recent years.
Wow, in your life, that gotta be pretty.
This is bad. I mean, you had the guy trying to do he tried throwing it off the side of the backboard. I think it was Richardson's son who plays for the Magic.
Okay.
And he slammed the ball instead of slamming it in the goal. He slammed it on the side of the backboard, flared back and almost hit his head on the floor. And then Jackson Hayes ran out of the tunnel and just took the ball and just ran forward and just dunked, just jumped and dunked.
Jackson Hayes and a slam dunk.
It looked like a warm up slam, and it looked like a warm up dunk. Did you see any of these highlights of these dunks?
I did not. I know one.
Let me pull these up for you.
I know one dude got a 50. I know one of the dudes got a 50.
And then the one guy from Miami, I never heard of his name, but they had him out there they did this whole promo video with a plane taking off and they said his name. And my Jersey and I are like, who the hell's this guy? They act like he's a superstar. But he walks out there with E40 and he's dancing and doing all this theatrical stuff and he's got music playing and he's just dancing his ass off. I will give him a credit. He got a 50 in dancing. I mean,
he gave more effort than that, huh?
Oh, he was out there doing his thing, dancing with E40. It was almost the point where E40's even looking at him like, all right, you could slow down a little bit. So the whole thing was have E40 come out, right? E40 standing under the basket, they brown a celebrity.
Yeah,
this guy's he's got to jump over him, and he brings E40 out there. I think I have the highlights right here for this. You got to see this. I mean, here it is right here. Hold on, give me 1 second. He brings out E40, and you think if you do all this theatrical stuff, you got to come out with a bang, and you got to make it on the first one. Here's what this Johnson guy does right here. He comes out, dude.
He said, I'm here. Let's
Hype it up.
He's going for it. I'm looking at the team. He's going for it. Yes, he is.
Keyshawn Johnson taking flow.
And he missed it.
Yeah, that's usually.
I'm like, bro, you cannot come out and do all. And he made the second one, and he's still dancing. Watch, you see right here, he makes the second one.
Look at E40.
Right here.
He's
Hold on.
confident. He feels he's winning this thing.
He made that. Okay, all right. Hey, you got a dunk. You okay?
This is John Wall. So that was that one, and then Jackson Hayes just comes stumbling out of the tunnel.
Jackson Hayes.
And this is Jackson Hayes' dunk too.
Goes between his legs. That's a 48. That's what he's going with.
I have the feeling he's going for it. He's going for it, being the biggest guy.
No.
Yeah,
Dude, I know guys at St. Vincent St. Mary night now that can do that dunk.
high school players.
I know high school players. I've seen them do it this year. That's a warm-up dunk. That looks like, the team runs out and they throw the ball on the backboard and they all tap the ball. That's what that looked like. He's just the guy that finished it. Yeah.
You know what's funny, Joseph? Our guy, Naquan, could have done better than that.
I think
Naquan Tomlin could have won.
Naquan Tomlin, I saw some in-game dunks from him where he went out there and reversed. Like, he had that one dunk recently that was really impressive in the game. And Dwight Howard gave that guy a 47.
Yeah, they're just out here.
I would have gave that guy a 7.
Yeah, the judges never, really.
And then this is the one
Really
that tops
got
it all off, Tune, right here. I thought this was the dunk of the night. Here we go right here with Jace Richardson.
He's got to breathe. He's got to bring the heart rate down.
First the air balls that one, right? And then here comes the next one right after this.
Pressure on the pass to pass off the side of the backboard.
Yes. At a certain point, you see how the ball is angling in.
He's good.
Whoa.
So he airballed.
Wow.
And then he
almost
I
fell
hope
on
he's
his
all
head.
right.
Did he fall on his head?
He's good.
Yeah, he took himself out.
Yo, that's crazy.
Now he got right back up. He was fine.
All right, that's good. That was scary.
Yeah, it was scary. But again, this is the dunk contest now. We got guys airballing dunks, Tune. We got guys coming out doing warm-up dunks. We got dancers coming out now and missing the first.
That's a dunk contest, man. That's where we at today, man.
What the hell has happened to All-Star Saturday night?
And it's not even those stars anymore. It used to be like stars, known stars. It's just like regular, not even role players. Some of these guys you might not even know.
As soon as Jackson Hayes did that dunk, Tune, I turned it off.
Yeah, that was disgusting.
I said that's enough. I've seen enough.
Hey, what's the dude name? Hey, Mac. He was saving a dunk contest.
Mac McClung.
Yeah, shout out to Mac.
Matt McClung had it.
He was like the not Nate Robinson, but I'm just talking about his size and everything. Like, he was at his height, he was doing some crazy dunks. So shout out to Mac. He was holding it down.
LeBron spoke on the All-Star Game weekend, Tune, in the format and just kind of what he liked. Here's LeBron said before the game.
No. No. East-West is definitely, it's a tradition. It's been really good. Obviously, I like the East-West format, but they're trying something. See what happens. But it's like the U.S. versus the world. The world is gigantic over the U.S. So I'm just trying to figure out how that makes sense. But I don't want to dive too much into that. All right.
But he said East-West is great. He likes the East-West format. Tune, I gotta agree with LeBron. As I know, the games weren't bad yesterday. I'll tell you that. I went back and watched them all. They was competitive. Besides the last one. The last one, I think it was the older U.S. team. They had them kind of like aged out. So like the one team that ended up winning it was all the younger guys like Edwards, Cade, and all that. Right. Then the other team was all Steph, Kawhi, LeBron, KD. It was the older team. And so I think the old guys looked old in that last game compared to the young guns. They got ran out of the building. But a lot of the games, though, Tune, came down to, last second shots. Like, it was competitive games. I thought Wemby was the one that really stood out the most. He looked like a absolute just superstar. He was really out there competing for Team World. But I just think, though, Tune, I agree with LeBron. The fact that Danny Avdia and Norman Powell were out there for Team World in an All-Star game appearance, that's not an All-Star game to me. I think it's watered down. How is Danny Avdia an All-Star but James Harden isn't? Like
Yeah,
I just don't,
yeah,
you know
James
what I mean?
Harden.
Like
Yeah,
yeah, like I just East versus West, you have to earn your spot. There's 15 spots, right, or 12. They used to no, it's 12 spots, 3 reserves. So to play in the game, you had 12 spots. You usually only had like 2 or 3 guards, like two guards, 2 point. You know what I mean? They had it broken down. You had to really earn your way in there. It meant something. I just think now they've watered it down. Where now we got this whole format, and the fact that they even have to try to create competition, I think, is an alarming thing in itself. And then before the game, now even I mean the games were. I thought the games were competitive in terms of like you go to the rec center, you play with your you have to look like here at Akron we go to the rec center and everybody plays. And it's competitive games. Guys want to win. I think that's kind of what it was like to me. It was kind of like watching rec ball,
hmm
but the fact that they even had to try to do that, and it's kind of rec ball because before the game, you got KD out there on his phone in warm-ups. And during the lineup, you see right here, KD's on his phone.
he's on his burner.
He's on his burner. And they showed KD out there before the game tune on his burner in the warm-up lines. And I'm just like, what are we doing here? It just shows you it's not. It's like it was just a pickup game. That's all it was last night. It was a competitive pickup game. But I just think the meaning of the All-Star game and the weekend and just what it means to be an All-Star and the respect for the game is just not there anymore.
Yeah, I prefer the original East versus West, and them having it. I also like the having your team on your jerseys. I like that
Yeah.
when he had that. But I get it. They trying something new. They trying something new. They trying something. They
Yeah.
trying to keep the fans engaged with the All Star game because of how low effort it is. I think it I guess it was a good idea, to have the team world and USA split into like three because you had basically the young all stars and you had the OGs for the USA and then you had the world. So it was an interesting concept how they was
Yeah.
doing
And
it.
I think they hit a home run with it. I think it worked in terms of entertainment and you know
Yeah,
what I mean?
I
It
think people
worked.
enjoyed it. I think people enjoyed it
Yeah.
more than previously.
But it's just not. I wouldn't call it the All-Star game anymore. I would just call it, a celebration of the NBA weekend or something, because again, why are certain guys making All-Star appearances now that really aren't All-Stars? You know what I mean? Like I said, like Norman Powell's an All-Star over James Harden.
Yeah, Norman Powell. Yeah, but
Like
Norman Powell been putting
that's
up numbers.
ridiculous.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
obviously Harden should be an All Star.
Yeah, he should have been an All-Star, and that's where I have an issue with is now guys are not going to get All-Star appearances that should get them over other guys. And so I think what they should do, if you're going to do it like that, maybe you have to expand it a little bit, make it more like a tournament style if that's what you want to do. I don't know. Or maybe, I mean, I don't know. But I just think it's a bigger issue, the fact they even have to try to create competition anymore. It should never got to that point. It should mean something to, I think remember when we were growing up in the 2000s, I mean? It was like you turned on the All-Star game East first, even in 2013. Remember the one with Kobe's locking up LeBron at the end of the game? And getting right in his grill, and they're going at it. I mean, like it meant something back then. It was pride. And there's just
Yeah,
not
Kobe
that
kept it
anymore.
competitive. Yeah, guys
You
that
know,
actually play defense and
yeah, like
competitive.
if a guy went out there on his phone in pregame, it would have been all over the news. He would have got bitched out by this commissioner. David Sir would have made that guy would have been punished for being on his phone out there during the lineup. You know what I mean? Like that would have never happened ever 10, 15 years ago. But now it's allowed. So
Shout out to
I
Adam
don't.
Silver.
Yeah, I guess so. But I'm gonna go a little more on this myself. But Tune, I appreciate you coming on, brother, giving your takes on the Cavs and all things NBA. Where can they find you at, brother?
Man, I appreciate you, man. Of course, man. You can find me, YouTube, TuneNSports, and we also will now have Cavaliers Talk. So be on both platforms talking Cavs. So yeah, TuneNSports, how it's spelled on the screen, and of course, Cavaliers Talk is the other channel. You can find Joseph on, and other Cavs fans. And yeah, we talk all Cavs over there. So yeah.
When can they expect your next live possibly to tune in?
Oh, hopefully this week. Or hopefully before the next game. So so hopefully, I appreciate you, Joseph. Yeah. So yeah, check it out. TuneNSports
Absolutely.
Cavaliers Talk, and you find
Absolutely.
Joseph over there too.
Yeah, you'll find me over there going off, but I'll try. I'll be the windhorse over there, but no,
That's
but,
good.
but I appreciate you coming on, brother, and I'll see you in the next one.
All right, man. Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely, peace. Shout out to TuneNSports, my guy. Appreciate taking time out. Hold on one second. Great stuff as always with TuneIn. But I'm gonna finish up today's show with my own take on the All-Star game and just kind of going on deeper what I thought about last night. So again, I thought the game was competitive, right? I thought the games were competitive rather. I like the concept. I think they hit a home run there. But I just think like LeBron was kind of referring to before the game. And I'll play that again real quick with LeBron. Here's what LeBron said again before the game in the media.
No, no. I mean, East West is definitely it's a tradition. It's been really good. I mean, obviously, I like the East and West format, but I mean, they're trying something. See what happens. But I mean, it's like the U.S. versus the world. The world is gigantic over the U.S. So I'm just trying to figure out how that makes sense. But I don't want to dive too much into that. All right, yeah, East West is great. We'll see what happens with this.
And so I agree with what he said there. The East West I thought was great. It was tradition. I thought it worked for all the decades it worked. It's just what changed. The athletes changed, right? I think the athletes have changed. And I think when you have this out there in the pregame, and I love Kevin Durant, the player. I think he's a hell of a player. I think he's one of the best, most unique talents this game has ever seen. All-time great talent and player. But this can't happen. This attitude and this. Now, it wasn't everybody last night. I thought Victor Wembanyama was the one that kind of really set the tone for the game and saved the night. A guy from overseas who is over here as a rookie, trying to make or second-year player, still trying to establish himself in the league. I thought he took advantage of the opportunity. I thought he dominated. Right? I thought Anthony Edwards showed that attitude we know he has, that edge he has. And I thought the guys played hard. I thought Kawhi Leonard got hot there in that third game, got really hot. And I thought he performed pretty well, But again, I just think a lot of the athletes, though, nowadays, not just in the NBA, but just in sports, this is kind of the mindset now. And I think it reflects in these kind of games. When you have a league that has to try to create competition now to get guys engaged and for help the viewership to get fans involved, that's a problem. It was not an issue 10, 15 years ago, like I just said with Tune. Like LeBron was referring to. Guys used to go out there. It meant something where East versus West, and you represented East, right? The Eastern Conference team, let's say. Even me as a Cavs fan growing up, I rooted for the Eastern Conference team because LeBron was on the team and it was our side of the half. Like it was like Big Ten versus SEC. It's a real rivalry. It really means something, and so it's pride, and it's you want to go out there and win, and guys try to go out there and win MVP. Right. And, they give me the guys who used to fight each other with the ball because they want to go out there and score, try to win MVP. And so you watch games back in the day, even, guys competed, went hard for 48 minutes and they played defense and it was a showcase, but they played hard. It was competitive. There was trash talking. And I just think it's shifted within the last 10 years. I think it's shifted in sports, right? And I think it's shifted really in culture. It's kind of a reflection of where a lot of things are nowadays, just society. But I think that, the All-Star game to me, it used to mean something more. It shouldn't be get to this point where they had to create something like that. But I hope last night is a sign in terms of a shift. I will say the positive thing I saw last night with these younger guys, Wembanyama, Edwards, all those guys, they had pride. You heard Jalen Durham before the game, and they played the other U.S. team. He's like, we want to go out there and show these old guys that we can hang with them and we can beat them, right? We know they're all-time greats. We want to go out there and beat them. And they did. They went out there. It was BTA. It was belts to ass on them dudes. I think it was like 41-17 or something like that. And so, it was some encouragement last night seeing that. I thought that was encouraging. I think it's encouraging seeing guys, staying with franchises now, like Donovan Mitchell signing with the Cavs, and everybody say he would leave Cleveland, right? I think there is somewhat of a slow shift, hopefully occurring. That's my hope. That in order to save this All-Star game and weekend and really just sports in general, hopefully getting back to that competitiveness and that pride again, and that just every opportunity you can go out there and compete against your peers. You go out there, you take advantage of it, and you go out there and try to beat them and be better than them and win. And I think that's what it needs to get back to. It needs to get back to more of the not everything in the bad. I'm all for changing things and making things better and involvement, but doesn't mean everything needs to be changed. Doesn't mean everything was bad either. And I think that's something a lot of in just society nowadays in general, but especially talking about this sticking with the All-Star game today. I think that's something where not everything needs to be changed. Not everything needs to be messed with. If it ain't broke, you don't got to always fix it. And so, I think ultimately you got to challenge your players internally. And if certain guys don't want to go out there and compete, they'll get phased out. You mean? And you know what's going to happen the next year? They'll just kind of piss around a little bit because they don't want to be all stars. They'll just not get in. They'll just coast to the season and turn on at the All-Star break, whatever. But that's up to them. You want to get guys in there that really want to. It means something to them to be an All-Star. They can compete for. They want to go out there compete and have pride, right? For the Eastern Conference or West Conference, like LeBron said. And you can't have this out in the pregame. I mean, this is an absolute disrespect out there. To have a guy on his phone before a game, before a contest, that people sitting in those seats right there paid an assload of money for those seats, and that's what's out there on the court before the game on the phone. And now he's got this whole burner account thing again. That's probably why. But again, you shouldn't have to get to a point where you have to create competition. Yes, it was a success last night. It was entertaining. It was competitive. But I look at the athletes, though. I want to see more of that shift with them. And I saw hope with these younger guys. With Wembanyama, Anthony Edwards, these guys look like they're going to be the ones to hope we get it back to where it should be. And maybe better. You know what I mean? And so that was some good science last night. It wasn't – I thought overall it was good. But the whole All-Star weekend, though, what it used to be, you saw the slam dunk competition. The three-point contest is still good, but just how watered down it is, the tradition, they just kind of erased it all. And I just don't understand why, just not only but in sports and society, that we just want to erase all that stuff and just say, everything needs to be wiped out, needs to be erased, And again, there's nothing wrong with involvement and doing new things, but doesn't mean everything else in the past was bad. And a lot of the new things nowadays are not good. It's actually making things worse. And not just in sports, but in life, you look around, a lot of things in the last 6 years, you look at society, it's just not the same. People don't act the same, and I don't think it's for the better either. And so, but again, if we can get back to more of this mentality here, you saw Michael Jordan yesterday. Obviously, his NASCAR team with Tyler Reddick, they won the Daytona 500, and you just see Jordan there with this picture, just the iconic. It looks like when he won the championship his first time in '91. I mean, it's identical. Just it means something even as an owner to win the Daytona 500. And he even said after they won, they asked Jordan about it, and here's what he said. It said, feels like it's won an NBA championship.
Michael Jordan has made his way here. Sir, we talked before the race. 4 horses in it. You are a Daytona 500 champion. How does that sound?
I can't even believe it. Yeah, I mean, it was so gratifying. I mean, we had 4 guys that were really fighting, that was helping each other out. I mean, you never know how these races going to end, right? It's like you just try to survive. And, I thought Riley did an unbelievable job by pushing at the end. That shows you what teamwork can really, really do. I mean, he doesn't get enough credit. He won't get enough credit, but we feel the love. We understand exactly what he did. And, I mean, we just hung in there all day. I mean, we great strategy by the team, and we gave ourselves a chance at the end. And, look, I'm ecstatic. I mean, I don't even know what to say. It feels like I won a championship, but until I get my ring, I won't even know.
All right, what size ring do you wear? Did you tell me?
Size 13.
Hey, happy early birthday.
Thank you very much. Greatly appreciate it.
And so I think you look at the 2 pictures here, right? You see one guy just elated as an owner that he won a championship. You see another guy who's an all-star, still playing in the league at a high level, and just, like it doesn't even matter. And you just, again, and it's a situation where the league has to try to get guys to get bought in to go out there and compete. And so I just think you see the difference in the athletes and just I think this is just a kind of a mirror of society, even in general, just a difference in the last, 30 years, even 25 years, let's say 25 years, just a difference of time, how things have evolved. And I think a lot of it's not for the better. And I think the All-Star game is one of those things that just using sports, you just look at these guys, just the athletes nowadays, there's so much money involved, so much to be made. You look at the college football right now, the transfer portal, you look at the NFL, how the Pro Bowls become, and just, even how that even looks from week to week. It's just the athletes have changed. I think there's just too much now of playing for likes, playing for Instagram and highlights and TikTok reels and all this shit. I think that's all it's become now. Everything's about playing for a reaction now on social media rather than playing for the pride of your team and for your teammates and each other. It's too individualized now. Everything's too individualized. Everything nowadays is more of what can you do for me rather than what can I do to help you and to help others. That's not what it is anymore. Now it's too selfish nowadays, and I think that's the problem. I think you see not only just with the NBA and sports with these athletes, but I think also you see it just reflected in society. What can we do? What can you do for me? What can I do for myself? Right? We've become way too selfish. And I think look at the NBA All-Star game. Why has it gotten watered down to what it's become? Guys just don't want to have pride and go out there and compete. It's always we want to load manage, we want to do this, we want to do that, we're not getting paid enough. It doesn't do anything for me, right? But they don't give a shit about what it does about the people that actually pay them, right? Actually come out and support them and having pride for themselves and their team they play for, what city they represent. It ain't about that anymore for a lot of them. But I will say though, I did see some hope though last night when I saw Anthony Edwards, and I saw Victor Wembanyama and some other guys, those young dudes out there going after it. That gives me pause and hope, and I think those guys can do. I think this next generation coming up behind, I think they can, and just in the world, I think they can really save a lot of things, and so that's my hope. And so, and I went a little deeper here, but you just even look at this. This is after Michael Jordan's last game in '98, after he hit the shot against the game closing shot against Brian Russell, right back in '98. And I believe I have it up here. Give me 1 second. This was Bob Costas that night, of course, right after. And everybody knew the team was going to break up. It was the last dance, right? It was all over. And everybody knew it was time. It was probably the end of the Bulls dynasty. But if you really look back at that night, what you kind of listen to what Bob Costas says here in this closing monologue, that it was kind of like the end of American sports of what it used to be, and just kind of how you look at where sports have gone since, and really in the NBA, especially since this back in '98 that night, it slowly has gotten worse over time. And so here's Bob Costas that night.
Cause for celebration tonight after a sixth championship that came harder than the others. But there's some anxiousness mixed in as well. Who knows how all of this will play out, but it's certainly possible that tonight we saw the last of the Chicago Bulls as we have known them. And whether it ends here or sometime in the near future, it'll be noteworthy not just for the breakup of one of the great teams in sports history, but because given the present structure of pro sports, it may be quite a while before we see anything like this again. Oh, the organizations that have the resources, the Yankees, the Braves, the Cowboys, the Lakers, and the NBA, will almost always field contending teams, but the days of continuity may be ending. Even on the best teams, there's now so much turnover that it's becoming ever harder to follow and identify with teams. Loyalty has been fragmented, which brings us to an underappreciated aspect of this golden era in the NBA. It hasn't just been Bird, Magic, and Michael. It was the whole recognizable cast of characters around them that gave the Celtics, the Lakers, and the Bulls their texture and made following them all the more interesting. Even the Jazz, noble runners-up 2 years in a row, are personified by the longest tenured coach in the league and two Hall of Famers who have been teammates for well over a decade. We'll see championship teams in the future, but will we see teams that endure this way? And as for Michael Jordan, all the superlatives have been exhausted and almost all apply. But perhaps the most important one is this. He's authentic. His essence is so much deeper than image. In fact, the image is, in his case, an amplification of something true and substantive. Take all the money, all the adulation, all the TV cameras away, and put Michael Jordan in a gym somewhere with Russell and Oscar, West and the Doctor, and he'd be as genuine and as much in his element as any of them. His heart and his athletic integrity, every bit as impressive as his artistry. So whenever it ends, it's been an incredible ride for Jordan and the Bulls, and we at NBC have been privileged to be taken along for that ride. So as we say goodnight, we'd like to acknowledge the work of all the people who made these telecasts.
And so you listen to that. I heard that last night after I watched that All-Star game, just reflected all these thoughts I have. And well, I didn't watch the All-Star game, but go back, watch the highlights, and just see what happened, what's going on with KD and all that. I'm just like, and then Jordan won a Daytona 500 earlier today. I'm just like, You watch that now, and you watch it 26 years, or no, actually 28 years later. It sounded like a eulogy for what used to be. Like this is a goodbye to what was. And you look at what it's become now, years later, decades later, what it's slowly become over time. I don't think it's gotten any better. And it's not just the NBA. You look in the NFL, what that's become slowly. Quarterback plays at an all-time low. Uh, Pro Bowl's non-existent. You know, there's just a lot of problems there in the NFL even nowadays. Just I don't think it's not what it used to be. They've watered down the game with a lot of rules, not as physical. You can't be as physical like you used to be. Everything's gimmicky now. Everything's about showcase. Everything's about likes and how much money can we earn, when it used to be about respect and legacy. And not just in sports, but in life. Everything now is about likes and retweets and reposts and being popular and blah, and everybody's an influencer now and all this shit. And how much wealth can I get? When it used to be about respect, it used to be about legacy, it used to be about inspiring others. It ain't about that anymore. And I hope it slowly comes back. Like again, I think last night, just through the NBA alone, I think seeing that shift with the younger guys, hopefully seeing that with young guys, I hope there's a shift occurring where it starts to go back towards that, where guys stay with franchises they were drafted to, and ride it out and try to build it out till they can't, and have that respect and legacy, what I mean, that we used to have in tradition. And so I think that's what needs to get back to. And I think they've lost that. And I think it's gonna hurt the game too. I mean, you look, and even at the college level now, college football, even not the same what it used to be. Everything's a transfer portal now. It's a revolving door. Anybody can do anything. You got over 7,000 kids in the portal, I believe, or maybe no, I think over 10,000 kids in the portal right now. 7,000 of those kids are probably never going to play again. That's not good. So all we have left in terms of pure sports is the high school level. And I know because I'm around it. And that is slowly starting to become deteriorated slowly. Because now what's going on when it starts in the pros with player empowerment, made its way down at the college level, and that's making its way down to the high school level now. And so it's slowly deteriorating, but that's kind of like the last pure sports, I think, reflection of what American sports is at the high school level still. We'll hopefully see how long that lasts. But because even you got guys moving all around there now too. So it's a revolving door there. And so I think when I look at the All-Star game, to me it's just a bigger reflection. Like I said, my whole point today is just a bigger reflection of what sports has really become, especially American sports, and just what the athletes are nowadays, and really just a reflection. It's a reflection of society. What sports has become is a reflection of what people have become, and it's not about like I said, it's not about legacy and helping others anymore, and leaving that legacy, earning respect. It's better in life to be respected and liked, like Ray Lewis once said. Now it's about likes and chasing wealth and monetary things and being popular and being an influencer and all this shit. So that's all it's about now. It's not about the other things. And I think ultimately it's done more harm and will continue to do more harm than good ever. And that's not going to change. So again, I thought last night was a success. Wrapping up on the All-Star game. I know I got a lot off the rails a little bit, but just had a bigger point I wanted to share today. But I think the All-Star game, it was a success in terms of entertainment and competitiveness. But I hope Anthony Edwards and Victor Wembanyama, those kind of guys, can bring it back to more of the traditional way, and where guys have pride, no matter if it's East versus West or not. It means something to be an All-Star, right? And that's how you bring that league back. It brings some of that competitiveness back and that tradition that we all loved, where it's not watered down anymore. And so, some good things, some bad things last night. I don't know. Overall, I think the weekend as a whole, outside of the games, was non-existent. I mean, I didn't even watch the 3-point contest. I went back and watched it, but I don't know a lot of people that were like, man, I got to tune in to watch this stuff. You heard TuneNSports, he didn't watch any of it. People used to make it a point to go and sit in front of their TV on a Saturday night, Saturday night, and watch this all weekend, especially Sunday. It's just not like that anymore. So hopefully they can get it back to that. We'll see. But a lot I had to break down today, and I know it was a lot. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you like, subscribe, share all that good stuff. Go subscribe to my man TuneNSports and Cavaliers Talk, and shout out to him. Go subscribe to my man TuneNSports Cavaliers Talk. Give a round of applause for him one more time, and a round of applause for all you guys as well. And so, love all you guys. I will see you the next one. I'm out of here. Go.